If you don't have one of these, who are you? A few decades ago, these devices were unheard of, and now we can't live without them. Do you remember when people couldn't get a hold of you because you weren't home or you couldn't come to the phone? These were very inconvenient times, but it was also a time when people didn't suffer from as much stress or anxiety because of work and social media use. Can you remember the last time you sat through a whole movie, not in the movie theater, at home, without once looking at your phone? Neither can I. For many of us, these devices have become like an extra limb, and a lot of people can't actually handle the distractions which their phones represent. We put ourselves under so much pressure to be constantly available on our phones, and others also put us under pressure when we don't immediately take their calls or respond to their messages. But we need these devices. We need them to stay connected, and in some instances they even become life-saving devices. So we can't do without them, but we do need to manage our use of them. In this video, I'll present a few tips and tricks that you can use to avert the hostage situations that many of us find ourselves in with our phones. So people can't multitask. This has been proven time and again. At best, you can inefficiently switch between different tasks, but you can't actually do more than one thing at the same time. For instance, you cannot type an email while attentively listening to what someone is saying in a meeting, nor can you give someone your full attention in a conversation while scrolling through your Twitter feed. And yet so many of us actually do that. Bearing this in mind, here are a few things that you can do to get your fix, but also make sure that you are also getting to everything else that you need to get to in your real life. So the first thing is to control your phone rather than having it control you, by making sure that it doesn't interrupt you when you are busy with something important. You can do it by switching off your phone when you are busy with focused work. I know, right? What am I saying? Your phone can't go off. The truth is, most of us can't actually do focused work for the entire day. It's a few hours at the most. So if you have the luxury of being able to do that, then switch off your phone while you're busy with that work. Unless that work involves making important phone calls, of course. For most of us, it actually doesn't. If you're going to do the switching off, it helps to lump or chunk together important pieces of work into a single sitting. If you know that you do this between 9 and 12 every morning, for instance, you can actually tell those who are closest to you that you're going to switch off your phone for those 3 hours. If they want to call you or send you messages, you'd be happy to see their messages after 12 when you switch your phone on again, because the message is not going to go anywhere. You're basically just making yourself unavailable for those 3 hours and working uninterrupted. So if you cannot switch off your phone because you might get a phone call, say from your child's school, or you are expecting an important phone call, then at least switch off your data. This way you make sure that you are not interrupted by notifications from WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and the rest. Speaking of which, switch off your notifications. It gives me so much anxiety when I see a notifications bar with like 100 unread notifications. It makes me think of those mailboxes with over 1,000 unread emails. How do you spot the important stuff if it's lumped together with all the other irrelevant stuff? Having every single app on your phone send you notifications is not only a surefire way of making sure that you will remain distracted throughout the day, it also creates clutter. All this digital clutter can have the same effect that physical clutter has on you. It creates anxiety. As a general rule, I switch off all notifications on my phone except for the apps that I feel are really important, like WhatsApp for instance, which is so widely used by family and friends that it's become a really important app for me, and then bank notifications for security reasons. I also have SMS notifications come through, although with all the spam that comes throughout the day, I could possibly consider switching that off too. There's no need to be drawn out of an important piece of work because someone on Facebook commented on a picture that you uploaded in 2017. So switch it off. If you cannot switch off your data, then use a pomodoro timer. This will involve doing like 20 to 30 minutes of focus work at a time with 5 to 10 minute breaks in between if you can't commit to long stretches of work. During your focus time, you have to commit to not checking your phone, even if you hear a notification on your phone, until it's time for your break. This is also a good tool to use if you are generally a procrastinator. Using this technique is not only useful for ignoring your phone, but also making time to actually check your phone during the break, especially if you suffer from separation anxiety. This brings me to my next point. It's important to actually make time for your distractions as well, otherwise you won't be able to focus during your focus time. So commit to checking your phone during your coffee break or during your lunch break if that's what you like to do, but be careful with what you engage with. So for me, Twitter can be a very toxic space. I often feel more drained than energized after I've been scrolling through my timeline. YouTube, on the other hand, I love because not only can I choose a video that is as long as my break, so if I have a 5-minute break, I can look for a 5-minute video, and I also make sure that I don't watch anything that is depressing. So I don't check the news, I don't do current affairs. I'll usually watch a video from the Comedy Central channel, for instance, where I can just have a laugh. Lastly, it helps to track your usage of apps in general so that you know what you're spending your time on. I use Stay Free. It's a free app that shows me how much time on average I've spent on a particular app on a particular day. And if I see, for instance, that I am abusing an app that honestly doesn't add any value to my overall well-being, then I delete it. In closing, remember these devices have become a very important part of our overall existence, but they don't define who we are, nor are they a vital organ. In fact, they can be very dangerous to our mental health. And sometimes what we actually need to pick up our lives is to just put down our phones.